What's up, everybody? This is Terminator Juice. It's going to be a spontaneous video here. I've been thinking for the last couple days about something, and I just trying to get my thoughts together. So I'm going to start. It's going to be kind of like a 10-minute, opinion piece, if you will. But I'm going to start with a question, and it's the question. The reason I came up with the question is because there's been something just not computing in my brain with all the NX not at E3 discussions. I've heard different podcasts, different people's opinions. Nintendo's not showing the NX at E3 according to what they said, which I believe. And I'm just like, from day one, I said initially, I was just like, that doesn't bother me. I don't care about Zelda getting split into having two versions of the game, NX and Wii U. It just always bugged me that Zelda was delayed. That was really the only thing out of that investors meeting that really hit with me. So the question I have is, especially people that are mad or like really mad at Nintendo or just upset at Nintendo about not bringing the NX to E3. My question is, and I want you to think about it, don't just instantly answer, just really think about this. What difference does it make to you personally whether the NX is revealed at E3 2016 or if it's revealed in July, August, September, whatever? The system we know is March 2017, probably the end of March at the earliest, the last Friday in March, probably. So what difference does it make to you personally, not as just a gamer, as a consumer? What difference does it make whether you see the NX at E3 2016 or whether it's shown later? That's the question I really would like people to think about, because on a personal level, I mean, the difference is I got to wait, and the anticipation of the excitement, is not going to be satisfied. Really, that's the only. And then I'm not mad at anything. I'm not mad at Nintendo. I'm not mad at anybody. It's just I would have been eating it up at E3 if they had the NX, but we're still going to find out about it. We're still going to get that. We're not going to be denied that reveal, that excitement. It's still going to be there. It's just from a personal standpoint, how could you be mad at Nintendo for that? Like, that's the question. What difference does it make when you see it? You're going to see it, and it's going to be, depending on what they show, that could be the disappointment. But I just don't understand how the fact that it's not at E3 this year affects you personally enough to be mad about it. Like, yeah, it would be great to not have to listen to any more rumors, which there hasn't been a whole lot lately. No more speculation. It'd be nice to have some cold hard facts, but that's just for a standpoint of that would give me something to talk about on my podcast, and I wouldn't have to, like I said, listen. I don't really listen to them, but I still do see people talking about rumors and speculation. It'd be nice if that went away, but that's minuscule. Like, that doesn't change really anything. And I don't think Nintendo owes us the NX reveal any sooner than they're ready to. So that was just kind of a thing I just can't quite understand. Someone actually mad at Nintendo for not showing the NX. Like, I can understand like the shareholders from a business standpoint, maybe somebody in that position's saying, yeah, this is the biggest stage. We should be showing this thing. It's basically 9 months before the launch, and the PlayStation 4 basically showed it off briefly 9 months before it launched. So from like a business perspective, maybe it's a questionable decision. I don't, and then I'm before I really I guess I'll just go into it. My thoughts on what this really means, not having the NX at E3, and why, to me, it doesn't make a difference. Because it's going to be like, in my opinion, like getting two Christmases now. You get E3, which is always exciting. Zelda blowout for Nintendo fans, maybe a little less exciting, but for a Zelda fan, big news, and just a gamer who gets excited and likes to see everything, we're still getting that. And then, you know, month, 2, 3, whatever, we're going to get this reveal of a brand new console or brand new thing from Nintendo with a bunch of new games, I would assume. It's almost like getting 2 E3s now, basically. So yeah, that's why it really never really bothered me at all. But thinking about it more and more, I'm like, you know, this actually is going to be like having another E3 whenever they decide to show it. I said in my podcast, I think August makes the most sense. Don't want to wait too long. Even July, I think July would be good too, you know, just because you got the excitement of Zelda at E3, and then you're really not going to have a whole lot. You don't want to keep people waiting too long. You could kind of keep the momentum going, but that's, like I said, that's just like thinking of it from a business standpoint, just from a consumer and a gamer. You know, whenever they show it, I'm gonna be excited. Whenever they announce, hey, we're gonna reveal the NX, we got a direct coming or whatever tomorrow, the excitement's gonna be there. So it doesn't change the being in August or September or whether it was in June. So that's kind of where I come from with that. The other thing is, and a lot of people, I don't really see anybody saying this. I brought up in my podcast a couple times. I brought this up, and I seem to be the only one who thinks this. But I think Zelda, this new Zelda, is going to be like a game changer, like a revolutionary thing, like for open world games, for the Zelda franchise. I think it needs its own stage. Now maybe they could have did a long direct just for Zelda before E3, and then, you know, showed off the NX or whatever at E3. But either way, I think the Zelda is deserving of its own spotlight. I mean, that's fine if you don't agree with that, but I'm a big Zelda fan. It's my second, well, it's tied with Mario platformers as my favorite franchise, so I'm a little biased there. But the fact that I'm getting an E3 based on, you know, basically focusing completely on this new Zelda, and we're going to get a full blowout of information, to me, that's, you know, that's exciting. And I think the game and the franchise being its 30th anniversary, I think it's deserving of its own spotlight. And then, like I said, the NX is deserving of its own spotlight too, because that's a new console for, you know, everything we know, which is very little. It seems like it's going to be a device, not just an operating system. And there's, you know, going to be actual hardware and stuff. So that's completely deserving of its own spotlight. So, you know, we're getting E3. For anyone that has the other systems, you're still getting Sony and Microsoft's press conferences. You're still going to get a lot of new games, a lot of new footage, hands-on with some of the games coming out this year. And then month 2, 3, 4, whatever later, you're going to get this new hardware reveal with a bunch of new games. So it's going to be, especially for Nintendo fans, it's going to be basically another E3. So, you know, call it what you will. I just think that's the fact of the matter. If you think it's damage controlling or just Nintendo fan just trying to make good of a bad situation, I don't see it that way. I always was excited to see Zelda at E3. I was just bummed that it got delayed because I can't play it, you know, this year. That's, to me, was always the problem I had with the news from the investors meeting. So, yeah, just to reiterate the question, what difference does it make to you personally, whether the NX is revealed in June, whether it's revealed in July, August, September? I just don't see the difference. You're still going to get a reveal of a new system and a bunch of new games, and it's going to be exciting. So that's really the question. And, you know, think about it. Either do a response video, leave comment. You know, if this doesn't apply to you, like if you're in line with my thoughts, I guess, you know, you don't really have to answer the question. But yeah, I think it's worth making this short video just to ask and see what people thought. But again, I'm super excited to see Zelda, and I'm also excited to see the NX. Yeah, it is a bummer that I have to wait longer. I mean, I just want to say that again. I'm not happy that I have to wait longer, but it doesn't matter. The system's not going to come out any sooner, whether we see it at E3. It's still going to come out around, I feel, the end of March at the soonest. Hopefully doesn't get delayed. But And again, they never said they were going to talk about the NX at E3. And, you might say, well, that's just, you know, what do you say? I forget the term, but maybe it's semantics or something. I don't know. But it's just true. They brought it up in a investors meeting just to let people know they're not giving up on dedicated hardware. And then Reggie brought it up at E3 last year because there was still quite a bit of people talking even that early on, and they could have ignored it, whatever. But they threw out, 2016 when we talked about the NX. Basically, they already knew that the Wii U's lineup was going to be light, and whatever, right or wrong, they said that. And then in the investors meeting, they said, we're going to talk about E3 at a later point, or not E3, the NX at a later point. That's really the only time that they've ever mentioned it. So everything else was on gamers. They've created this expectation of it being at E3. I just assumed it was going to be at there, but it's it wasn't to the, my expectations were it has to be at E3 or anything like that. So it really has been on the gamers in this community, the YouTubers, and everybody making videos and talking about rumors. A lot of the rumors said 2016, the AMD, the chipset or whatever, that's supposedly a new hardware, which could totally not even be the NX. It could be the PlayStation Neo or whatever. So it's just interesting to kind of look at this and see how this all started. I know there's some people who say, well, it's Nintendo's right to satisfy our expectations, and they missed an opportunity. But that's not from a personal standpoint. You're thinking of, you want Nintendo to be win E3, quote unquote win E3, or you want them to be talked about, and like stuff like that doesn't matter to me, as long as they have great games and the system's not rushed out, and they have a good launch lineup and a good plan for the future. Like they've said, like Kimishima said, they want to have games readily available, not just at launch, but throughout the life cycle, or especially the first year. And that's all that matters, in my opinion. So I see Retro Death either has some comments or a question. Let's read this. Let me ask this, Juice. What people should be asking themselves: what do you want to see more, Zelda or the NX? To me, that would always be Zelda. Yeah, for a lot of obviously Zelda fans, that's the easy answer. There's a lot of Nintendo fans, say they're Nintendo fans, that don't like the Zelda or don't really care for Legend of Zelda. Terrell from my podcast, he's not, he played a couple of them, but he's not a huge Zelda fan. And so for him, I think he probably would have rather just seen the NX or whatever, just, to see some bunch of other games versus just one game. But I think this Zelda is going to really be the next evolution, like when they switch from 2D to 3D with Ocarina of Time. We haven't really had that next jump. Same with Mario, until Galaxy came out. That was like, wow, this was the next evolution. I don't think we've had that with Zelda yet, and it looks like this new one's going to be that. And maybe they feel like they really need to explain how this game works, and they thought having its own basically E3 was the best way to do that instead of a Nintendo Direct or two. So we'll just have to wait and see. They haven't even revealed their full plans for E3. We don't know if they're going to do a tournament or Nintendo World Championship again. If there's going to be Treehouse, we don't know. I probably could have waited till we got that to make this, but it's just been something I've been thinking about enough where I had to just ask the question. And Retro Death also says people these days are just way too impatient and way too entitled. Nobody is waiting anymore in excitement to see what could be. Everybody is claiming things that they feel companies owe them. These people are simply becoming less and less gamers. Yeah, it is. It's definitely a thing with patience. Like, I've always been a patient person. I don't get too anxious or I just always had a very calm demeanor. Being a Nintendo fan, especially a Zelda fan, these games always get delayed, and it's always like quality is always important over quantity. So there's always waiting. Even with Sony and Microsoft, look at how long people waited for Uncharted 4 now, and then that Horizon Zero Dawn, or what I think that's what it's called. That gets delayed. Final Fantasy fans been waiting. Kingdom Heart fans have been waiting. You know, and it's just one of those things. You want to. It's worth the wait to get a quality product. This, in my opinion, than to have something rushed out and, you know, show off the NX before it's really ready for them to show it off, or games aren't quite in the stage where they want to show them. That would be a way worse scenario than waiting a month or 2 or 3 to show the NX properly. So I think a lot of people need to consider that option, because Nintendo did say a launch window of March. They didn't say, you know, launch date March. So it's either they weren't sure the day in March, or they're just not 100% confident in March. We'll find out in the future, but there's just think about, there's got to, if you're going to show a new system, then you got to have it playable. You got to have the games playable. Otherwise, why show the system at E3? You can tease it, or you can kind of do a quick little, hey, this is some of the games, you know, and then in this date, we're going to do a full blowout. It could do something like that. But if you're not ready, you can't just show the system, mention it, and then leave people with nothing. I think that would be worse than just coming right out ahead of time and saying, all right, we're not going to show it at E3. We'll give you full details at a later date in 2016. You know, we've been warned. So just like last year, they told us what their E3 plans were. Nobody believed them. And look what happened there when they didn't deliver on people's expectations. They delivered on what they said, and a bunch of people got mad and lost a lot of Nintendo fans. A lot of division happened. And this year, they basically telling us right now, no NX. So don't expect the NX. So, but that's going to be it. I didn't want to make this super long. Went on, actually, this gone on longer than I thought. So yeah, just think about that. You know, personally, what difference does it make when you see the NX? Don't just, it doesn't count. Oh, it just makes them look bad or something. You know, that's not a good enough reason. I mean, that's a really stupid reason, actually. But think about it. If you feel like you want to leave a comment, answer the question, or even a video response if you're a YouTuber. So that's going to be it for this video. We'll see you on Monday on the Juice is Loose, where we'll probably talk about this topic. I'll ask my guests, and maybe we'll focus a little bit on that specifically, and then some other stuff if any other news comes up. So we'll see you then.